It has sparked significant interest from both domestic and international investors, boosting confidence in Pakistan's broader privatization program and paving the way for further economic restructuring. On a lighter note, I was telling Mr. Tabba, when the government decided that the whole process will be transparent. The whole nation can see what's going on. And it was a great match between Mr. Tabba, they're both friends of business community and Araf Habib Group. So first of all, he was chipping in with 25 crores and they were rounding off, for example, 115.25 billion, and they will say 126 billion. The time came when they jumped to full billion. And I said, thank God. My target was around that probably they would reach 150 billion. So anyway, Mr. Tabba being very prudent and very careful and, very, I would say, acting with very wisdom, he stopped at 134. Obviously, at 135, the other group took, but it indicates one thing, 134 billion of investment is available for another round of privatization in the country. So please don't lock it under short-term deposit. Hopefully, things will be coming up. The second, I would say that reducing the circular debt. We are enforcing payment discipline, strengthening regulators, and building a financially sustainable energy sector. The goal is to ensure that energy supports economic growth instead of constraining it. Number three, right-sizing and reforming the government. We are eliminating inefficiencies, cutting waste, and reorienting public spending towards productivity and service delivery. These reforms, together with digital governance initiatives, ensure government resources are used effectively for the benefit of the people. I think the earlier panel ended up with one of the panelists saying the last word was expenditure, management, or reduction. But unfortunately, I would say unfortunately, we can have a long debate. Unfortunately, only one indicator would tell you when the policy rate went up, which was the lowest 5.25 in 2017, to 22%, you don't need rocket science. The 2000 debt servicing shot up to 10,000 billion, virtually 10,000 billion within no time, almost 5 times. So you had a very bad. We saw the graphs which Dhaka Saab showed every 10 years, decades. So the things we can analyze, we can sit and analyze where things went wrong. Obviously, these reforms, as I said, complement the macroeconomic stability that Pakistanis demand and deserve. I would say a few words. Those who sometimes spread hopeless attitude, I always encourage my friends of the business community, particularly the last interaction I had was as finance minister in 2023 budget. And I won't name them. They would come, business leaders of Pakistan. And in accordance with the previous practice, I engaged them and discussed, because I always think that you never know what golden proposal can come last minute and which should be accommodated. But I think majority of them, when invited and obviously not together but separate for federation, key chambers, etc., they would show great discontentment and disappointment, and they would say they are thinking to sell off the business. I'm talking May 2023, April and May 2023, not too far long. And I said, what is the problem? I said, well, obviously, businesses were down and growth was almost nil there. Costs had gone up, 22%, the policy rate. Who can afford a business? It's better to put, I'm sure, money in the treasury bills and have 22%. Which business will give you net of 22%? I'm sure very few. Maybe Tawasab has some secrets, making more than 40-50% per annum. But general return, I'm talking about average. But I always tell them that Pakistan has great potential, and I believe this thing. There is no other country in 2012-13 which was declared macroeconomic unstable country. This is Pakistan. Please recall your memories. Where were you? High inflation, high policy rate, low growth, and predicted to be defaulting within 6 to 8 months, no matter which political party would win the election. What happened? Dr. Khakan mentioned it was the first time, and Yunus Dhagasa was part of the team. He was heading power sector. The first time Pakistan completed, the country which was known to be 2 or 3 times country and runs away after taking upfront money, the first time delivered the whole structural program of 12 successful, the reviews. And where did we reach in 2017? We are not talking about any other country, we are talking Pakistan. Macroeconomic stable country, interest rate down to one of the lowest, 5.25, export refinance 3.25, growth 6.3%, reserves still not beaten the maximum, crossed 25 billion, close to 26 billion. So that shows the country has the potential. The business community can lead that growth. But we all know that IMF programs are usually and generally, they are anti-growth. So the focus of this government is fully that having achieved this stability, and by the way, don't forget 2017, Google, please now, but what was written about Pakistan economy. Don't look towards neighbor, look to Pakistan. And all rating agencies upgraded your ratings. I went to float sovereign paper, 500 million euro bonds. I was offered 14 times, 7 billion. We only picked up 2 billion. So Pakistan has the potential. It's only a matter of going in the right direction and stopping this cyclical nonsenses in this country. And I was the one who, as the finance minister, kept repeating every year, 2013, 2014, 2015, and Dr. Khakan was part of, again, the economic team in the Ministry of Finance. And we used to give 3 years medium-term macroeconomic framework. 2013 में 2013-16 का दिया, 14-17 का दिया, and kept begging for a chart of economy. But we only care for politics. Nobody paid any heed, and then you were predicted by 2017, you reached 24th global largest economy. You were only 4 notches away from entering the premium economic club of the world, G20. That's what you deserve. You're already nuclear power. God has blessed you with missile power. And the only thing lacking is the full economic flotation and independence. Can Pakistan have it? Of course, indeed. This is my belief, my faith. I would not be joining the government and serving now if I didn't have that belief. We are only 4 notches away. What happened to the same country? This political gimmicks and instability in the country, where it led to? By 2022, you fell to 47th economy of the world. And within next few months, you were predicted to default. I was asked September 2022, 4th time to take up. Every time there's a mess, economic mess, then I'm called upon to come and rescue. And what was being asked at that time? They were giving dates. Again, see the Googles. They were giving dates. Pakistan will default that day. Pakistan defaulted that day. Last one's in May 2023. Fitch gave a date that they will default by 30th of June 2023, the max. And I kept saying, as Finance Minister of Pakistan, IMF or no IMF, Pakistan will not default. And I meant it. And I worked for that with the team. And alhamdulillah, Pakistan didn't default. So you see, this country has resilience. This leadership in the business community, Pakistan has the acumen. They know how to make money. They know how to take the economic cycle forward. So we are the enablers. And rightly said by one of the panelists, that government must exit from the business. This is the key priority of this government. After PIA, we would be unbundling and unwinding many other areas. I try to do with as much speed as I can as chairman of the Cabinet Committee on Privatization. So our focus is that discos, all these loss-making entries must be get rid of, must be privatized. You see the history, whichever institution you privatize in the last 2-3 decades, you made many times more in terms of collecting taxes in future by their increase in profitability. So be large-hearted. So this government, as I said, has a very clear roadmap, and this is the resolve that Pakistan, frankly, I believe that we have returned to current account surplus, as Daga Sahab just indicated. It's how much? Just less than 2 years. You have worked hard, you contributed, you implemented the structural reforms, where you back again. Your current account deficit has turned into surplus. Your revenue, tax to GDP has increased by 2%. Your inflation has come down to 5.6% CPI. Pakistan Stock Exchange has made a new, new mark and a new record. It also made in 2017, 16-17, if you recall. At that time, its market capitalization went to $100 billion at that time. So, दूसरी जो problem होती थी, जो मेरे पास साथी business के आते थे, they used to say, साथ पकड़ के, but we are, अभी by the way, one of the slide was debt. The Pakistan debt trap. Okay, for a moment I take it that Pakistan is in deep debt business. But have you ever thought, what is our debt to GDP? What are other and compare with other countries? When I left, it was 63%. I triggered in 1999 this Fiscal Responsibility and Debt Limitation Act. It was not imposed by IMF or any other foreign country. It is self-imposed, 60%. When I came back in 2022, it was 73%. It has now gone again under 70%. But what US has, 109% debt to GDP. What UK has after COVID, 100% debt to GDP. What Japan has, 257% debt to GDP. So is debt to GDP, high debt to GDP is a constraint? No. What is the solution? Solution is here. You need to reach to a macroeconomic position where when you need to fill your external account difference and gap, you can float your sovereign paper, and the world community should be able to buy that paper, should be willing to buy that paper. And that, this is all facts. And they are available. I'm not talking of just tale stories. 2022-23, your paper was quoted in international markets at that time, sovereign paper at 44%, even it went down as low as 34%. But when we honored our commitments, it shot up to 80% within a year of the PDM government. Now it is always trading above 100%. Why? Because now that confidence is becoming back. So this country has the potential, and frankly speaking, I used to ask my friends, many of them already have the information, ये जो budget की process is 20, do you know what is the number, by the way, debt and liabilities? So 130 billion US dollars. 130 billion US dollars, including public debt and liabilities. ये इसको classify इस तरह करते हैं कि liabilities वो हैं जो कि institutions ने borrow किया हुआ है foreign exchange में, या कुछ चीज़ें deferred payment में खरीदी हुई हैं इस तरह. But obviously they have to, the state has to provide, the central bank to provide the foreign exchange, but they will pay the rupees. So one is public debt, which is close to 100 billion. The 30 billion are roughly the liabilities. Have we ever thought that what Allah has blessed this country with? The mineral resources, the hydrocarbons, the stones, the most conservative estimate is $6 to $8 trillion. All we need to do is to work hard together make a serious effort. 6,000 to 8,000 billion, Allah has blessed resources in Pakistan beneath this land, and your debt is 130 billion US dollars. So it's nothing to worry. I'm not saying that we should just get complacent and just sleep over. You have to work hard, and that effort has to be done consistently by every next government which joins in. The economic policies must be consistent. I think Dhaga Sahab ki ek slide wo keh rahi thi. I'm sure most of us know, we have been talking, discussing budget exercises mein. Consistency is the name of the game. Because as Bilwani Sahab said, I think, industrial policy, agar is saal kuch hogi to agle saal kuch hogi, obviously then you can reach nowhere. So मैं समझता हूँ कि things are shaping up. We should not lose hope. We should work extra hard, and Pakistan has a place to achieve, inshallah. हमारी remittances भी, they have reached 27% increase हुई है 38. The projection for this year will be 41. We have an issue. An issue is external debt. You are a twin deficit country for ages. You have a rupee deficit, which is a budget deficit, which you have to obviously borrow from rupees from within the system, and you have external current, जैसे कहते हैं current account deficit. So these two twin deficits have killed us, and we have been unable to fix it. There is no quick fix. आपकी को 30 billion का trade deficit है, export minus imports. आपके almost जो remittance हैं, जो मैं बात कर रहा हूँ 2016-17, अभी तो your surplus. Why? Because remittances plus exports minus imports, you are now current account surplus, thanks God. Because otherwise you need to run to the friendly countries, which have been happening in the past. You have एक number किसी ने दिया 8 to 12, no, it's 12 billion, 8 to 13, 12 billion. Yes, 3 countries you had to take in the last 5-6 years help. 4 billion from China, 5 billion from Saudi Arabia, and 3 billion from UAE. So we must work hard to not resort to borrowing money. We should be making sure, because it has to be export-led growth. One of the slide which we saw, that is the future. You have to plug this gap of the external account gap, and it is not a big amount. All you need is about 10 billion increase in remittances, 10 billion increase in exports, and maybe 10 billion services and other sectors, and you are in business. You will remain surplus. So ये जो एक issue है, debt, public debt वाली है, but it is not, which cannot be managed, and it has to be managed if we have to move forward. Well, a few words about the Foreign Office, where I now have the responsibility mainly, and as Deputy Prime Minister, I do deal with a number of issues, interministerial. I made it a clear commitment the day I joined last year, the Foreign Office, and that was Pakistan's diplomatic engagement must advance Pakistan's economic interests. I called it economic diplomacy. This was my day one in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Khawateen-o-Azad, we have embedded geoeconomics into every major foreign policy channel, and it is, alhamdulillah, delivering. A country which was known to be diplomatic isolated just 3 years back is today, alhamdulillah, is most relevant in the region.